question most people ask about crypto is, should I buy it? I think the more important question is, why do I suddenly want to buy it now? Because for most people, if they are honest about it, the answer is not research. It is a story. Someone they know made money, a colleague mentioned it, a relative brought it up during dinner. And that story creates a kind of urgency that skips the step of actually understanding what you are buying. And I think that is where most of what goes wrong begins. Now, before I get into this, I am Preeti. I run a community called as the Personal Finance Club. And I spend a lot of my time in conversations with people about money. Not just products and returns, but the decisions people actually make and what happens after that. And crypto is that asset class where I've seen the most consistent patterns. And that is exactly why I wanted to make this video. In late 2021, something shifted in a way I had not seen before with any other asset class. People who had never discussed investing were suddenly talking about crypto. In office WhatsApp groups, at family dinners, in conversations that had nothing to do with finance a year earlier. Exchange accounts were being opened because someone's colleague had doubled their money in 6 months. Bitcoin crossed $60,000. Altcoins followed. Stories circulated of ordinary people making extraordinary returns in a very short period. And then 2022 arrived. Bitcoin fell over 70% from the peak. Several large crypto firms and exchanges collapsed entirely. And the conversations, which had been everywhere, just disappeared. The people who had entered at peak enthusiasm found themselves holding assets worth a fraction of what they had paid, with no dividend, no maturity, no underlying earnings to suggest when or whether a recovery might come. What happened in that cycle was not unique to crypto. It is how speculative assets have always moved. But crypto made it visible at a scale and speed that was genuinely new. The reason so many people were caught in it was not because they were uninformed about investing generally. It was that the excitement around it pulled them in before they had really figured out what they were buying. So Bitcoin is fundamentally different from Ethereum. Ethereum is fundamentally different from meme coin. Yet most people buy all three under the label of crypto. That is a bit like treating a blue chip stock, a startup, and a lottery ticket at the same investment because they are all listed on an exchange. They are not the same risk, they are not the same thesis, and understanding which one you are actually buying changes almost everything about how you should think about holding it. The problem is that when prices are rising, these distinctions disappear. Everything gets called crypto. It is only when the cycle turns that people realize they were owning very different things. To be fair, crypto would not exist at this scale if it was only speculation. The people who believe most strongly in Bitcoin believes that it solves a real problem. Governments can expand the traditional monetary system indefinitely, whereas Bitcoin has a fixed supply that no one can change. Whether you agree with that thesis is a different question, but understanding the argument behind an asset is different from endorsing it. And it is worth knowing why so many thoughtful people take it seriously. People consistently underestimate what crypto volatility actually feels like when you are living through it. A 70 to 80% drawdown from peak is not an anomaly in crypto. It has happened multiple times with Bitcoin, the asset most people consider the most established in this space. And it feels different from a drawdown in equities because there is no earnings report to wait for, no dividend to anchor your conviction, nothing that tells you the asset is worth at least this much regardless of what the market is doing. There is just a price that keeps falling and a community whose mood shifts from euphoric to silent very quickly. Most people who say they can handle volatility discover something different when they are actually in it. The speed is different, the community environment is different, and without a fundamental anchor to hold on to, sitting through a drawdown in crypto is genuinely harder than most people expect. Another thing that I've noticed is that most people never decide how much crypto to buy. What they actually decide is how much they cannot afford not to own. how much exposure they need to avoid the feeling of missing out if it goes higher. And those are very different calculations. One starts with risk. What can I lose here without it materially affecting my financial plan? The other starts with regret. How bad would I feel if I was not in this situation? And it doubled. The second calculation tends to produce positions that are too large, entered too late, and held for too many wrong reasons. The people I've seen hold crypto without significant regret tend to share one thing. They sized it based on what they could afford to lose, not on what they were afraid of missing. They started from, if this went to zero tomorrow, would I be okay? Most people start from a different place. How much do I need to put in to feel like I'm participating? Those two starting points tend to produce something very different. Owning a small amount of crypto because you have thought it through feels very different from owning a large amount because you were afraid of missing out. Most people are in the second category while telling themselves they are in the first. For most people, if crypto belongs in a portfolio at all, it probably belongs as a small speculative allocation. Meaningful enough to matter if it goes right, small enough to be genuinely fine if it doesn't. For Indian investors, the tax treatment changes the picture significantly. Since the 2022 union budget, gains from crypto are taxed at a flat 30%, with no offset allowed for losses in one asset against gains in another. A 1% TDS applies on transactions above certain thresholds as well. Practically, this means frequent trading in crypto in India is very tax inefficient. The structure significantly penalizes frequent trading and changes the economics of how most investors approach crypto in India. The regulatory picture has also remained uncertain. Crypto is not banned in India but is not formally recognized as a currency or a security either. The rules could change in either direction, and that is worth factoring in before making a significant allocation. Now, I want to come back to where I started. The most common way someone enters crypto is through a conversation, right? Someone they know made money and the story reached them before the understanding did. Every asset class carries risk. What makes crypto different is that the story tends to arrive first, urgently, with very little space between hearing it and acting on it. Whether you decide crypto belongs in your portfolio is a question only you can answer. But if you're going to own it, it should be because you understand the asset, the specific thesis behind what you are buying, the volatility you're signing up for, the tax treatment you are working within, not because you are afraid of missing the story. That distinction between owning something because you understand it and owning something because you did not want to be left out tends to determine most of what your experience with this asset class looks like. If you want to work through that question more specifically, this is exactly the kind of conversation we have in the Personal Finance Club. The link is in the bio.